Hi YouTube. I felt very concerned indeed when I read in the paper this afternoon that a young man, a computer science student at Sheffield University, is to face up to a decade in a US jail for an activity which is perfectly legal in the UK. It seems that Richard O'Dwyer, 23 years old, set up a website from his university bedroom to direct people to file-sharing sites where films can be downloaded. He stored no copyright material at all and merely directed computer users to these sites, which is actually no different from what Google and Yahoo already do. So we see double standards here. What's okay for the big corporations isn't okay for the ordinary citizen. It's interesting, isn't it, that Turkey recently requested that the Duchess of York be extradited to Turkey to face charges of illegal filming in orphanages, but the British government immediately said, nope, it's not going to happen. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that Fergie should be extradited or that she deserved to be extradited. But it's interesting that the wheels of justice don't even start rolling when the Queen's former daughter-in-law is involved. And interestingly, it seems that the Queen's granddaughter accompanied her mother on this trip. So again, we see double standards here. I think any mother of a computer-mad son will feel a great deal of empathy for this family. If it's true that he made some money out of this, I don't blame him, as he's trapped in a student loan situation, which this government should never have allowed. And this copyright business has reached a level which can be frankly described as ridiculous. It's fair for performers, songwriters and writers to have rewards for their creative works, but these draconian copyright laws aren't about that at all. They're about big corporations fleecing the general public. And there comes a point when copyright laws are so draconian that they actually inhibit creativity and inhibit freedom of speech and create a sterile, mundane world which none of us want to live in. Lifetime plus 70 years as copyright protection does nothing to help the originators of creative works, but it does everything to enrich mega corporations, and it makes life considerably less enjoyable for the rest of us. My husband and I went out to a French cafe last weekend. We suggested to the owner that it would be really lovely to hear some French music, Jacques Brel, Brassens, Edith Piaf, etc. But he just said he couldn't afford the licence fee of £500 to £600. Just for playing some music in a cafe? What sort of a world is this? But this case has far more serious implications than just copyright issues. The fact is that our sycophantic lickspittle government is going to throw this poor young man to the wolves, just as it has thrown Gary McKinnon and Julian Assange to the wolves. Can we call Britain a democracy? We have no say whatsoever in US law. We can't vote for US legislators who make US laws, yet we are going to be subject to them. But even worse than that is the fact that the United States, yes, the United States of America, is now arguably one of the most tyrannical regimes in the world. It has just enacted the NDAA legislation, which means that even American citizens can be thrown into jail indefinitely without trial if the government decides to do so. This legislation, which naive people may imagine only applies to prospective terrorists, may soon apply to anyone who disagrees with the politics of the incumbent president. Now, as I mentioned in my recent video, Police State UK, this law also applies to the citizens of any country in the world. And Britain has shown that it will be more than happy to deliver its own citizens to a tyrannical regime like the USA. Well, I have one thing to say to you, Mr. Cameron and Mr. Clegg. Tyrannical regimes come and go. History shows that world government has been the aim of many dictators throughout history, and one day, when this empire has gone, like all the others, you will be seen as collaborators for your shameful betrayal of the people of this country.